Hi, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. And today we're talking about the law of attraction. Is it operator error or is the law of attraction a hoax? And I know that we've spoken about law of attraction before, and we may be going over some of the same territory that we've covered in other calls, but we are too deep into this shift to not really understand exactly how to use the law and to create lives that really feel good. So we're going to be looking at these things that are imperative to our success and become really wonderful students of the law, fantastic teachers of the law, because those of us who are early awakeners have the responsibility of helping those who are just coming into this place. So it's time for us to get it right, to be able to learn these techniques and use them consistently in our lives. So they begin, dear ones, we have addressed this question many times, yet we still see frustration in many and puzzlement in others. Why, you say, does the law of attraction seem to only work some of the time? We answer, the law is always in effect, but so often you're focused and hanging on to, for dear life, to that which you don't want. Therefore, when the law which mirrors your thoughts and amplifies that which you have become emotionally involved with, delivers to you even more of what you don't want, you immediately cry foul and state emphatically that the law is at best malfunctioning and at worst a hoax. But we must remind you that you are responsible for the results you receive. Therefore, if you're being delivered that which you don't want, then you're committing the foul. You're engaging in operator error. We remind you that the law of attraction is a reflective response. It is not a thinking entity that can discern between that which is wanted and that which is unwanted. You, with your superior reasoning abilities and commanding intellect, are to do the work necessary to allow the law to bring you that which is wanted. Sloppy or lazy application of the law does not render it null and void. The law doesn't cease functioning because you've entered into an antagonistic relationship with it. The law continues on endlessly as night follows day and asks only that you apply it correctly if you wish to receive optimal results. It doesn't pick and choose who it rewards. All are treated equally. But some of you are applying the law correctly, and others are operating in error. So how does one successfully apply the law so that the results will both be continual and desired? It is a simple process, but it's one that cannot be altered to fit your mood. There is no fluctuation. The law of attraction is completely predictable. First, you must remember that the law is energy and responds to energy. Second, understand that where you place your attention, your focus, becomes a point of strengthened or heightened energy. And third, the amount of time and emotion you give to this heightened energy determines how quickly you will call forth more energy that is similar in nature. Now, let us dissect these points one by one so you can have a clear roadmap to success. We desire your success and ask that you become mindful practitioners instead of wishful thinkers. Therefore, when we state that the law is energy, we are saying that everything is affected by this law, that energy cannot be destroyed, but it can change shape and form more of what you want or more of what you don't want. Remember, the law responds to you. It doesn't change you, but you have the power to change the energy it commands. You, through the power of your thoughts, can shape the energy commanded by the law into whatever you desire, but the law doesn't stop forming into things because you're unaware of how to use it. So let's really look at this for a minute. You're in charge. You get to choose what it is that you are responding to. You get to choose how you are responding to the stimulus or the circumstance. You get to choose whether you get completely caught up in what you don't want, or you quietly shift your energy over to what you do want. The law is not doing anything to you. It doesn't like you or dislike you. It is simply responding to you and shaping the energy that already exists into more of what you already have. This is why it is so important when you are desiring something to get off the look at my life, it's so bad, all these things are going wrong. That may be true. Things may be going badly in your life. Your life might even be out of control. But the way to get it into control is to start looking at what you do want. Second, the law is under your command. Because you have the ability to change the form of energy with your thoughts, you command the law. Your attention to a situation causes that situation's energy to increase its activity. This heightened activity attracts more energy of the same type to be drawn toward it. The increased activity you cause when you view, think about, and talk about a situation keeps the energy active and magnetic for other energy that is similar to be attracted to it. This means that when you're looking at something that is unwanted and you begin obsessing over it, reviewing it in your mind, talking about it to all who will listen, and becoming emotionally distraught about it, you have considerably raised the amount of energy surrounding the unwanted situation. It becomes a pulsing, palpable thing that carries with it a big attraction signal. Now let's stop for a minute and just get in your mind's eye a picture. We've all seen GIFs where the image begins to pulsate and it will contract and expand and contract and expand, and you can just feel the energy surrounding that picture. That's what you're doing to yourself when you talk about what you don't want. Suddenly this thing that is unwanted has gained momentum and seems as though it has a life of its own. But it is you, the operator, who has given it life. By constantly focusing on the problem or that which is unwanted, you're not only keeping it alive, you're fanning the flames, and that which is wanted becomes a distant memory in the face of all of the noisy attention that is being paid to what you say is unwanted. Just for a moment, sit back and say to yourself, if I pay all of my attention to what's wrong, is there any room in my energetic field to look at what's right? Or has it all been consumed by what is not wanted? Well, if it's all been consumed by what's not wanted, then that's all that you can attract. You have to make the unwanted a pinprick of energy, and the wanted a searchlight, a beam that goes out from your heart and says, here I am, this is what I want, bring it to me, Bring me to the place where I need to be in order to receive it. We say, if you don't want it, if you want it to cease to exist in your vibrational field, then you must stop feeding it. Get used to looking at what is unwanted and making a clear decision. Say to yourselves, I no longer want this. Don't just try to hide from it. Take a look at what's going on in your life that is not pleasing. Identify it and then immediately get busy and start discovering what it is that you do want. In the beginning, put some energy into identifying that which you do not want, but only for long enough to identify it. Then go out and actively look for something that feels better. Don't wallow in that place. Put your attention on that which you have now decided you do want. Feed that flame as though your very life depends on it, because, dear ones, it does. The quality of your life, the extent of your happiness, and your accomplishments depends on getting your attention off of what you don't want and onto all that you do want. You, as the operator, get to choose, but you must choose wisely, or you will choose by default. The law doesn't sleep because you are not making good choices. If you're being lazy, your mind will revert to the problem and you will receive more problems. Remember, when we go offline, we go to the energy that was most active previous to our state of awareness. So if all that's active in your energetic field is the problem, you will revert immediately back to the problem. However, if you're choosing consciously, you will place your deliberate focus on the solution and you'll refuse to budge from that place energetically. Get so bound up with the solution that the problem seems to disappear. You will heighten the active energy surrounding the solution to such a degree that the energy of solution will find you quickly. You will be available to be in the place where the solution is. You will no longer be stuck in the low vibration of the problem. You will have raised yourself to the place where the energy of the solution, which is always higher than the problem, you will have raised yourself to the place where the solution is residing. Lastly, the smart operator does not waste their time or energy wondering if the law is a hoax. We are too far in. We've got to stop even allowing that question to form in our minds. Know that the law is real, that it is constantly working, either for our benefit or our detriment. That's up to us, but it is always working. The educated operator goes all in. They put their focus entirely on what they do want. They become emotionally supercharged with the certainty that the answer they seek is available, and they refuse to relinquish their energy to doubt or uncertainty. They don't waste precious energy wondering if they know. In short, they cannot be moved from their point of focus on what is wanted. They do not give up. Time becomes irrelevant. They merely continue to keep their eye on the prize while feeding it more energy and delight. With their energy of delighted anticipation, they also maintain a state of gratitude. They have the attitude, "Isn't it wonderful?" Wonder and appreciation for everything permeates the air around them, and they cannot help but feel joyful and grateful. They are commanding the law to bring them all they desire, and the law is happy to oblige. Please, no more questions about, does the law of attraction work? Instead, learn how the law of attraction works and apply that to your life more diligently than you have ever applied anything. Get excited, but remember, we may not understand what it is that would be for our highest good. Ask God to show you and allow your desire to be open-ended. I want this or something better, whatever is for my highest good. And then no complaining if you get something that you don't think is good. You don't have the wisdom that God has to know what would be best for you. And sometimes a challenge is exactly what you need. It may be opening you up to a level that you would not have been able to get to because it's forcing you to go within and let go of some limiting beliefs. So just do away with complaining. Do away with the questioning and get really excited about the power that you can command when you fully understand the law of attraction. Because you too are capable of commanding the law, but you cannot ignore it and hope it will cease to function. We are so far beyond that silly way of thinking. Understand that everything is energy, that energy can be transformed but not destroyed, and it's your focus that determines what the energy becomes. It is not, I hope so, wishful thinking that has no real motivation behind it. It is, I know this to be true, and I will consciously and intelligently apply the law. Right use of the law brings joy and success. Wrong or lackadaisical use of the law brings unwanted challenges that are asking you to wake up and learn how to consistently and consciously direct your attention. Now, if this sounds like, hey, we really don't get a day off, you're right. We've come too far. You're much too advanced to be saying, gee, I really need a day off from thinking about what I do want or keeping my thoughts in the correct direction. Do it until you don't have to think about it anymore. And then you can have all the days off you want because you'll automatically go toward that which is desired. But while you're still learning, put the effort in. It will be so worth it. Your life will continue to change and get better and more positive, and better opportunities will find you the more that you consistently apply the law and really study the law. If you're getting something that you feel like, whoa, this came out of the blue, I was so conscious of really being focused on what I want. First thing you need to do is go back and review. Was I really paying attention, or did I fall off and the wagon and start taking a detour over here because my friend called and I accidentally started talking about my problem? If you find that you have really been on it, then go to God and say, is this something that I need in order to progress? Is there a lesson here? Is this the next step in my enlightenment? And be open to hearing, yeah, you got some work to do. That's not a bad thing. So let's take a look at everything they've shared with us. Remember, when something is a hoax, you could flirt with the novelty of it, and even try it out for yourself. But you don't take it seriously, and you don't put all your time or attention into learning about it. But you have to do exactly that with the law. You just can't be on it one day and off it the next. We all must become serious students and stop whining when we don't get the result we want. If something doesn't go as planned, examine it. If you're at fault, take the responsibility. Don't say, well, if my friend hadn't called me, I wouldn't have talked about that problem. It's not your friend's problem or responsibility. They didn't force you. If they asked you, how are things going, say, they're fantastic. I'm learning so much every day. I love my life. It's fabulous. I'm growing. Even if you are in the midst of an incredible mess, you can still be growing. It can still be fun. The angels are still with you, guiding you. God hasn't left you. But remember that the law of attraction is a reflective response. It doesn't stop and say to itself, gee, she's thinking about something really awful, or he's talking about this thing that is really going to be bad. I don't think I'm going to magnify that particular energy. I'm going to give them something they would like. It doesn't have that ability. It's merely reflective, but it does follow rules. And we can master and apply these rules and absolutely receive more of what we don't want. We are not dealing in the dark. There's no mystery here. Nobody's hiding anything from us. They gave us a roadmap today for the successful application of the law. So let's review the 3 characteristics that you can use of the law that you can use to increase your success. And know that the more that you do this, the more invested you become in learning how to do it correctly, the easier it will become. You are going to make some mistakes. That's how we learn. So don't get upset. Just say, okay, hey, I got it. This is where I went off on the wrong track. So remember, everything, including the law, is energy. You can't destroy it, but you can transform it. So if you are confronting a situation that you don't like, you can't go out and get some dynamite and blow it up and say, oh, goody, now that's gone. No, but you can take that energy of what is unwanted and shape it, lovingly shape it into something that you do want, that feels good. And then it will be as though that energy never existed because it's now occupying the new wanted form. Second, you command the law. The law doesn't tell you this is what you will receive. You tell the law this is what I want to receive based on your attention. Once you take your attention away from something, it completely withers and dies. And the best example I have of that is when children enter what is often known as the terrible twos, they will sometimes throw tantrums. Well, there are 2 ways of handling that. You can look at the child who may be pounding their fists on the floor and kicking their feet and screaming at the top of their lungs and say to them, stop that right now, you terrible child. What are you doing? You're giving all of your energy to the child's tantrum. And generally, the child will respond to scream louder so that they can drown out your screaming, and they're responding to your anger and your displeasure. Or you can simply say to the child, "Hey, I see that you're upset. Take a minute and I'll be right over here when you're ready." And then you completely remove your attention from them. Obviously, with 2-year-olds, you need to make sure you keep them in your sight because they can get up to some hijinks. But you move away, and that tantrum generally ceases pretty quickly. They're not getting any attention. They're not getting your attention, and it's kind of boring, especially if you go over somewhere else and you start acting as though something you're doing is really interesting. "Oh, look at this. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting." I used to do that to my kids. Wow. 2 seconds. They were up, rubbing their eyes. "What is it?" Completely forgotten that they were angry about something or upset about something and wanting to know what it was that I was looking at that was so interesting. And just heads up, it's probably best if you really have something there because you're going to have to punt really quickly and make up something because they're not stupid. They want to know what you thought was so interesting. And if you don't have anything, that's not going to work as a distraction more than once. So remember to find out first what you don't want. That's really important. If you're just saying vague ideas of what you don't want and what you do want, you can get caught in that nowhere land that really doesn't have any energy. So you look at the thing that you don't want and you identify it. This is not what I want. Instead, I want, and get busy getting descriptive. Get involved with this. Write it down. Make it into a story. Read it to yourself over and over and over again. Feed it energy. Allow it to come alive. And remember, the third point was the law is absolute. So understand that you can control the law. Don't be its slave. Become its master. You are a slave to no one, but you can be the master of your life just by being careful where you place your attention. And if you really want to become the master of your life, then open up to source energy and allow it to flow through you. Get in a partnership with the Creator and allow yourself to be filled with this infinite knowledge so that you don't have to go through so many of these trial and error places. You'll just have that certainty and that knowing, and you won't have to fall in the ditch to say, "Gee, I don't like being in the ditch." You can avoid a lot of heartache when you've got that wisdom flowing through you. It doesn't mean that God is doing it for you or that you're the puppet. It simply means that you have access to unlimited information and wisdom. Now, I do have a wonderful story. It's sort of a law of attraction story, but I want to show you how we can improve our daily lives so simply and so easily. And this is not a parking lot story. I seem to have graduated from parking lots, but this is a grocery store story. Now, I generally like to go to the grocery store once a week because my schedule is just so busy. It's really frustrating to finish work, try to begin cooking dinner, and find that I don't have the ingredients that I need and have to run out and get those ingredients and put dinner on the table late. By the time I discover run and come back. So I was at the grocery store and I have a general idea of what I'm going to cook for the week. And they keep telling me, buy some half and half. I'm looking at my list. I don't have half and half on there. I'm thinking down my meals. I don't think so. I don't need half and half. And I don't like to buy anything that's fresh before I really want to use it, or at least use it that week, because chances are it will go bad in the refrigerator, and that's just silly in my mind. So I try to be pretty organized and buy only what I know I'm going to use. Then I get over into the next aisle, and I'm looking at the chicken broth, and I'm saying, uh-oh, I'm going to make broccoli cheddar soup, which I absolutely love, and I know it has a base of chicken broth, but I can't remember what else I put in the soup. I know, obviously, that you put a cheddar cheese, and I had lots of fresh broccoli and onions and peppers, and I just couldn't think. So I get the chicken broth, and I'm hearing, get half and half, get half and half. I'm thinking, oh, no. It's just cheese and chicken broth that goes in this. Now, of course, I get back to the house, and darn it, here I am making the cheddar cheese and broccoli soup, and of course, it calls for a cup of half and half. Well, I had to use whole milk, and it wasn't nearly as good, let me tell you. So I was a little upset with myself because they were giving me such a clear message just to pick up the stupid half and half. So next day, I finish work, I come in, I'm thinking, I'm going to make stroganoff. Well, in order to make stroganoff, I have to have sour cream. Now, I'm absolutely certain that there is sour cream in the refrigerator. So I start looking, and I start panicking. Uh-oh, there's no sour cream. I'm looking. I'm getting more frantic by the minute, more irritated with myself by the second. Oh, my gosh, I'm thinking back to when I was in the store a couple of days ago. Did they tell me sour cream and I blew that off too? I am thinking, frantic, digging through that refrigerator. No sour cream. Then I'm still digging in that refrigerator. Suddenly, I've got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, really? What else can go wrong? Now I've got to go pee, or I'm going to wet my pants. And I still haven't found the stupid sour cream. So I run in the bathroom, and I hear, look in the refrigerator again. Well, being the wonderful student of the law that I am, I immediately replied, no, I don't want to. I already looked, and I know there's no sour cream. And now, boo-hoo, I have to go back to the store, and the dinner is going to be late, and I'm off on this rant. And there's just this little pause, and they say, why don't you take a quick look, a little peek in the refrigerator? So I take a deep breath. I think, okay, I'll go look in the refrigerator, but I already know it's not there. But just that moment away from the problem, having to do something else, I was starting to feel, wouldn't it be great if it's there? I was starting to allow the possibility of something great happening so I wouldn't have to run back to the store. I open the refrigerator, I move one thing, and there is the sour cream. So immediately oh my gosh, thank you so much. I love you, angels. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you. But it was such a perfect example. I knew the sour cream was in the refrigerator. I started to panic when I couldn't find it immediately. I was already a little late getting dinner started. Well, the minute I started to panic, I created a whole huge story and a pity party about having to go back to the store. Dinner was going to be late, and I wouldn't get to finish my workday until maybe midnight. I've got the boo-hoos going. The panic is flowing. I've completely cut myself off from the directions that were being given, which was move that, and it's right there behind it. So they took me off to the bathroom to get my attention, to get me away from the problem for a few minutes, and kept asking, hey, look again. So they will always work with us. Just don't be me and have a pity party. No, I'm not going to look. It's okay to get frustrated for a minute, but get over it as quickly as you can. You're not going to find what you're looking for in the state of frustration. I had to be removed from the place that was causing me the frustration and take a moment, take a breath, and listen so that when I went back, I could follow the directions and find what had been there all along. So please understand that your panic, your boo-hoo pity party, your focus on what's wrong is never going to allow you to find what's right. If you have to take a bathroom break, do it. Walk outside. Take a breath. Get away from that problem in any way that you can. Take a moment and allow yourself to move into the place where there was the solution. Now, you might say, yeah, but you said no, I'm not going to look. Yes, I did have a pity party. I was boo-hooing it as much as I could there for a second. But the minute they said, just take a quick peek, I started to let go of the panic. I could feel like, oh, good. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it's there? This is fantastic. All righty. I started immediately moving over into the energy of solution. And then when I approached the refrigerator, I could clearly hear them saying, move that. It's on the top shelf behind that bottle. And of course, there it was. So that is a silly little example of how to use the law of attraction to get more of what you want, and why it's so important to stay out of panic and frustration and fear and any of these other negative emotions that do not allow us to see the answer. But it's so important that we approach this with that understanding of the solution is always being offered to me. If I have gotten myself into problem energy, I am guaranteed that a solution is being offered to me, but it will not be in the problem energy. So my job is to move myself out of problem and into availability where the solution energy resides. Get over in that higher vibrational place as quickly as you can. Last week they gave us the Why Bother Challenge. Why bother praying if you don't believe you're going to get an answer? They would rather we did nothing than sit in our state of disbelief. And so they challenged us. Before you say a prayer, know that that your prayer is going to be answered. Go in with certainty. Go in with that absolute knowing. Well, let's apply the same formula to the law of attraction. If you're not expecting that there is a solution, why are you bothering to look for one? Why don't you just enjoy the problem? If you really think that's all there is, then get busy being as unhappy as you can. Have as many pity parties as you can. Don't put any energy into the law of attraction unless you're serious. Unless you really want to create a great life for yourself. And then if you do, put all of your energy into getting as much of an understanding of the law of attraction as you can. When you make a mistake, study it. Where did I go wrong? What's going on here? Don't play dumb. There's no playing dumb. We are intelligent beings. Even those of us who came in with an intellect that was not very strong still have the ability to use this to understand. No one has been denied this tool. We've just been asked to learn how to use it. So please, learn how to use this tool. Give it all you've got. And do not fall into that way of being that says, oh, I knew it wasn't going to work. Or, I just seem to attract bad things. No, get into the place where you are excited and happy and delighted about all of the fabulous things that you're attracting. So, anybody have a great law of attraction story that they want to share with us today? Or a question about the law of attraction? Make sure that you keep those questions coming. I do appreciate each and every question that I get. I guarantee you, if you're confused, someone else is also confused. So you being the one that is brave enough to ask the question are helping many other people who may not be able to formulate the question correctly or just too shy to speak up. Please ask your law of attraction questions and share your stories of how things began working for you. Because, again, your success becomes the success for all of us. We all go through periods when we feel a little tired, worn out, just needing some sort of inspiration or motivation. Your story could be the motivation for someone else who's really just having a rough time getting out of that place of overwhelm. So please continue to share your stories. Continue to send in questions. If you have a subject for a blog post or that I will channel as a blog and that we will then go over on the call, please make sure to send that in as well. Everything you are thinking could be so beneficial to someone else. So please don't feel like nobody would be interested. I am absolutely certain that there are many other people that feel the same way that you do. So, David, is it a question or a story?
Neither. I think everybody has a story about this, and they want to change things in their lives, and it doesn't, and they do and try everything, but nothing helps, and that's the ultimate test for the law of attraction. What I find very interesting is because I was writing when you were telling all about this subject. Is I found out that a lot of people block themselves because they by yeah staying in the mind and making the problem even worse sometimes. It's good to relax and stay in the heart, um, so you can see everything from a different perspective. Um, and that helps. And what I also found out myself is it's better not to say what you want, but be in the energy of having it already. Just,
Oh, excellent. Yes. Yeah. Two excellent points. The heart is that place where God is communicating with you, and you can get to where you want to be in the heart and much more easily than in the head. You might be able to create the outline in your head, but the feeling place is definitely in the heart. So, yes, brilliant. And that feeling is what really gives us the not the acceleration.
mm-hmm. It's the energy. You need to be a vibrational match to what you want.
And we all know what happens when we're not.
Exactly, and we're all experts on that level. But yeah, it's a learning period, and I think it's different for every person, for sure, because there are so many.
And I think that is, again, another brilliant observation. Please stop comparing.
Mm-hmm.
You are where you are because it's best for you, and it's okay if somebody else appears to be going at rocket speed and passing you by.
Yeah.
You will catch up or you won't catch up. It will be right for you. So let's get off the idea that if things are not coming to me quickly, I'm doing it wrong. We just want to see signs of progress or signs of alignment. Some of the things that you may be desiring may have a lot of moving pieces. You may need to change dramatically in order to be a match to that thing. And it's probably not going to happen overnight. So, David, I know your journey has been pretty extensive.
Mm-hmm.
And have you found that those really deep things, they're not an overnight miracle?
No. And it's still a work in progress.
I understand.
Your dreams change, your visions change, your perception changes on the more you grow in spiritual vibration on higher levels. Your wishes change also, but life gets more easier because you're more in the heart instead of the mind. Because we make ourselves crazy sometimes by and we do it ourselves. That's even worse. So, but we are the solution to our own problems on that level. If we just need to be, if we want to change things, we don't no longer want in our lives. We just need to get out of our mind and start thinking or believing that you already have what you want.
And another good point that I want to touch on that you brought up was you will find that your desires change. So if you begin the journey saying, I want X, and what God says or sees for you is that what you really are going to desire is Z, you may not ever receive X, not because you're being punished, but because you're going to grow beyond it so quickly that it's better for you not to receive X and grow than it is to receive X and possibly be stuck there for a while. And so that's certainly another thing I've noticed, that sometimes I'm saying, I know that I have applied every principle correctly, and I am not seeing this particular thing appear. And then a little more time goes by, and I suddenly realize, oh, that is not in line with where I'm going. And I would have been, I guess the best word is disappointed or detoured if I were to manifest that particular desire.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as good students, we need to remember that sometimes that delay or that not appearing on our horizon is perfectly okay. And take a look at what's happening to you spiritually during this time and see, are you growing? Are you being prompted to move in a different direction or a bigger direction? And you may want to adjust what it is that you're desiring to be more in line with that. So we have to be careful too, not to get stuck in the thing that sounded good today. Keep checking on that. Is this still really something that I want? Or was I really playing small? Or was I in the wrong ballpark altogether? And have you found that in your own life, David, that we begin having fun with these gifts, developing them, learning to explore them, and often that beginning desire doesn't really match up with what you came here to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And it's like we're playing a game on Earth, and it's like we're going from if we master one level, we go to another level.
Right.
And on each level, you get new challenges and you get new experiences, and it works both ways. You get things on your path you totally don't want on your path, and you get things on your path you never imagined getting on your path. That opens new doors, and that's what keeps me going, to see the miracles.
Yes, those lovely surprises. Absolutely. And you're so right. We've got to be okay with challenges coming and not get all upset over it. Every level has that mastery challenge that's gonna pop up, usually when you're not really excited about a challenge. But once you're on the other side of it, there's that wonderful feeling of thank you, thank you, thank you. I would do it again and again and again if this was the only way for me to get from where I was to where I am now. And just remember, we've got to stay open, stay fluid. Sometimes the challenge can be more challenging if we are putting up resistance. So check in always with the heart about resistance. Am I putting some roadblocks in my own way? Or is this just a growth opportunity? Well, let's rephrase that. Everything's a growth opportunity. But am I participating in making this more difficult? Or am I in that fluid state of non-resistance where I am just flowing and I am not getting knocked off my game when a challenge comes forward or something unexpected happens? And David, do you notice that as well in your own life?
Yes, sometimes simple solutions come on major issues you think are major, but all an illusion. Looking at it from a future point of view, but I think it's important that people just talk about it. That's we don't need to be mysterious about it. Just talk about it. If so, I wish somebody else would have a question today, because don't be afraid to ask, Marcia.
It's just so important that we get a hold of this and that we don't get, how many years have I been doing this and I still wanted to have a boo-hoo pity party when I didn't think there was sour cream in the refrigerator? You can't get caught up. If I had refused to go back and look in the refrigerator, no, I'm not playing this game, then it would have been on me. Go out to the store, stand in line, come back, make the dinner really late at that point. That would have been on me. So please be flexible. Mm-hmm. You can have your little moment off the path. I was tired. It was a long day. I do love my work, but I still get tired. Mm-hmm. But they took me away for a minute and forced me to just catch my breath. And if you just build in those periodic rest stops in your day when you feel yourself getting frustrated over something significant or insignificant, it doesn't matter. Just take a time out. That was remember when we were, well, I don't know if they were doing it when you were a child, but time out was the big thing, just taking a moment to catch your breath, to pull it back together, and to see if you can come back and be part of whatever activity is going on. Take a moment, take a bathroom break, just relax for a second, and then go back prepared to enter the energy of solution. Open your heart. Open up and say, I need help. Can you help me solve this problem? Of course they can. Of course they can, and they are. They're just needing you to be open and receptive to the answer that they're pouring forth. The minute you get into panic, the minute you get into frustration, anger, blame, guilt, shame, you are cutting that connection down as to a teeny tiny pinprick. And it's really difficult to understand what's being asked of you from that place. So take a breath, get back in your heart, understand that it's all going to work out. And from that place of certainty, ask for help. Asking for help from a place of fear and frustration is okay, as long as you're willing to take a breath, jump into that heart space really fully and deeply, and enter the place of solution. And that place is away from fear. It's away from shame and blame and guilt. You have to just let go of those low energies. Turn your back on them You can come back to them later if you really need them for some reason. Turn your back on them, walk away, and say, okay, deep breath. I am now available for the answer. And the answer will find you because you've placed yourself in the place where the answer can be brought forward. So, that's our sharing for the day. David, as always, thank you so much for just reminding us of some of these great points. And everyone, please remember, don't get discouraged. It is not all a beautiful meadow full of wildflowers and sunshine. There's going to be some rain, and it's going to happen to all of us. So when you are in that rainy season, if you feel that you need help, reach out. We now have a group, Heal Our Hearts, on Facebook. Come over and join us in the group. If you want to get in touch with me, you can send me an email, Marcia, M-A-R-C-I-A, at marciamartinthehearthealer.com, or you can message me through my website, marciamartinthehearthealer.com. There's a contact button on my website. As always, we have these weekly calls. Send me your questions, send me your ideas, send me your concerns. We'll get to as many questions and concerns as you have. This subject that we talked about today, the law of attraction being a hoax, came up just because I had a conversation with several people who were just frustrated and confused and wanted to understand what they were, why they weren't able to apply the law successfully. So the guides came forward and gave them a very specific framework that that I've shared with all of you as well. And don't forget, share this channel, Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. Share this call on YouTube with everyone that you feel may be interested. I know for myself, I have to go back and reread many of these blog posts that I have written to really get a hold of some of the information that they're sharing. I listen to these calls. I reread the blog posts. You might not get the material the first time. That's okay. Again, we are learning. You may find that the 10th time that you go back, you'll get a deeper understanding that you could never have gotten from the first time, simply because you've moved yourself into a higher vibration and you can comprehend the deeper truths. So keep coming back. Share this material with others, share the group, and as always, share your questions and concerns. All right, everyone. We will be back together next Wednesday at noon. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm sending you my love.